So, today we are going to be talking about why the Fed cannot stop what the crypto market is about to do. The crypto market is about to do absolutely crazy things. We have a Fed meeting coming up next Wednesday. So, from the 16th to the 17th of September, we're going to have a Fed meeting, and this is going to be a very, very huge pivotal point. Anyways, we're going to talk about this. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. Let's get straight into it. So as you guys can see, Bitcoin has came back to 114K. Bitcoin's looking pretty good. Last 7 days, 2.8%. Last 24 hours, 2.3%. So Bitcoin's still looking fairly decent. But what we really need to talk about is the next Fed meeting. The next Fed meeting is on September 16th and on 17th. And on the 17th is when they will actually make their policy decision for their rate cuts. So a lot of people are talking about these rate cuts, and the problem is this. So JP Morgan warns the Fed's next rate cut could be a sell the news event that tanks stocks. I do agree that this might actually happen. Like, we might have a pullback, but I feel like that pullback, even if we have a pullback for stocks and crypto, that is going to be a bear trap. I feel like that pullback will be a bear trap if we do. And this is what I've been talking about this whole time. If we are to pull back, and look, I think we're still bullish. There's a possibility that we don't pull back, right? I think we're still bullish. But if we are still bearish by that time, there's a reason why I have these two areas here. So this is a 32% drop from that previous high when we had that major pullback, right? And then what do we have now here? Another 32% drop from our previous high that we just now did. And that brings us down to 85K. We haven't actually reached 85K though. We haven't went down on this pullback. We haven't went all the way down like how we did before back here, right? That's only if we do the same thing to a T. But I still don't believe that it will keep Bitcoin down. I think even if Bitcoin pulls back based on this Fed meeting, it's still going to be good. But let's go over this. So investors are eager for rate cuts, which is definitely true. People are waiting for this. People are very eager for it, which are widely expected to be bullish for stocks. So if we do get the rate cuts, it is a bullish thing. But see, the problem is that if we are already expecting that and the market has already priced that in, the market, which means when the market prices something in, that means that the prices have been going up in anticipation to whatever is happening. So whatever current news event that is about to happen, the market has increased in anticipation to that, which is why we see the S&P 500 at all-time highs. We see the SPY is at all-time highs. It's absolutely crazy, absolutely insane. The %R trend exhaustion for the SPY is completely overbought. The trend is completely overexhausted on the weekly chart or on the daily chart, which means it's eventually going to have a pullback. So it could be next week when we're having this Fed meeting, or the Fed meeting could spark a pump. But if you look at this, this looks insanely bearish. This looks insanely bearish, but it can stay overbought for such a long period of time. So we've seen it time and time again where we stayed overbought for a long period of time, and then we had just a slight minor pullback like here. And then again, it started to go up again, slight minor pullback. Again, starts to go up all over again, and then a larger pullback right here. So we haven't had our smaller pullbacks on this pump. I feel like we could have a smaller pullback that extends down to possibly 612, 610K, 611, or not 612, $611, $610 here on the S&P 500 on the SPY. And that is that previous high. So I think that's what we're going to have. I believe we will have a bull trap on this Fed meeting. I believe this Fed meeting is going to end up causing a bull trap, bringing us a little bit down here on the SPY all the way to about $610. And that would have Bitcoin also pulling back. That actually, Bitcoin might not pull back. Bitcoin might pull away from the broader market, right? Bitcoin might establish its own base, but there is still a possibility that Bitcoin pulls back. Now, JP Morgan sees a rate cut at this month's Fed meeting as a potential negative catalyst. Markets are pricing in 88% odds of a cut at the Fed meeting. So I do believe that we'll have the cut. But here's the thing, like, even if JP Morgan says it's negative, JP Morgan knows that in the long term it might be negative, but JP Morgan knows in the short term it's positive. And the thing is they're probably stocking up. Like they're probably doubling down. They're probably putting more money into the market right before things happen, or they're probably waiting for that pullback so then they can put the money in there, right? They're saying, hey, it's going to be negative. So then when it comes, the price drops, and then boom, there's the bear trap. And then they end up buying at the bottom, and then it starts to go back up. So they end up buying right here. They tell you guys, hey, it's going to end up being a negative catalyst up here. Just so it can pull back, they can shake weak hands out, they could buy in here, and they can keep the rally going. I feel like that is what they're trying to do. Same thing here with Bitcoin. They're shaking the weak hands out just so they can try to keep the rally going, right? So let's go ahead and pull up this Bitcoin chart again. So when we look at the Bitcoin chart, if they have a pullback here inside of Bitcoin, it could go down to 85K. And that I just say is because it's a 32% drop from the top, just like the previous level. It's purely based off that, nothing else. So if we were to do technical levels that aren't purely based off that, then I'm looking for 104K. That's the next support. Here with the Fibonacci retracement, major support there. And then I'm also eyeing 99K, also major support. We've had it before. So I'm also eyeing 99K here for Bitcoin. So that's pretty much what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for either 104K Bitcoin or 99K. We are currently increasing in price, so there's a possibility that we don't actually reach that level. Okay. Then when you come over here and you look at the Bitcoin percent R trend exhaustion here, you can see the trend is a little bit over exhausted. Usually whenever we get these, let me maximize this actually for you guys. Usually whenever you get these red bars with the red down arrows, that indicates that we are having a reversal in the trend. So the trend is going to the downside. The blue line being the long-term trend, white line being the short-term trend. But we just got that signal and we just got that pullback. But now it's coming back up from the pullback, just like it did over here, just like it did over here, and just like it did right here and right here. So we're seeing the same thing where we're over exhausted on the trend, but the trend still wants to go upwards. So there's that possibility that we still have this uptrend, and this is for the weekly chart. So this is a long-term chart. So the long-term chart is also showing on the MACD that sellers are coming in. We're seeing those red candlesticks popping up. So we definitely do have some selling here that we have to try to combat here for Bitcoin. Looking at the daily chart super bullish. The MACD is pretty bullish on the daily chart, not gonna lie. There's a possibility that it could continue to rise. My only thing is if we do come into next week around the 16th and 17th a little bit too hot, and then we start to become bearish because the rates actually did cut, and then people just become bearish on it, and we've been pumping the whole time, like leading up to it, like we've been pumping for the next week from now until the 16th and 17th. If we do that, and then we have a major pump before that, let's say we go up to like 130K or 120K before the 16th and 17th. If we did something like that, that is going to cause a major crash, right? That could cause a major crash. It could come all the way down to 85K almost instantly. And then see, people will be so bearish. People will be so bearish. They will shake the weak hands out effectively. This is what they're trying to do. They're trying to shake the weak hands out. Bitcoin and crypto is still bullish for the rest of the year and for the beginning of next year. I believe the beginning of next year, right? I think the end of the market is going to be, or the end of the bull market is going to be by the end of this year and the beginning of next year. So personally, I'm still 100% bullish here with the crypto market. I'm not letting this shake me out. The MACD super bullish on the daily chart. Percent R trend exhaustion for the daily chart's pretty bullish. The long-term trends on the up and up. So is the short-term trend. So we should see increase in price here inside the crypto market, but we have to stay diligent. We have to stay wary. We have to know exactly what's happening inside of this market. And again, the main thing you want to pay attention to is the Fed meeting happening on September 16th and September 17th. Okay. So that is what you really, really, really want to pay attention to. But the Fed cannot stop what is happening. This is already set in stone. There are huge whales in crypto. There are huge institutional investors out here. They are trying to get this thing to peak. by the end of the year or the beginning of next year, and then they're going to be gone. They're going to be outie. Look, we've been in a bull market since 2023. Since January 1st of 2023, we've been in a bull market. So it's been a long time, all of 2023, all of 2024, and now it's going to be all of 2025. We had 3 years of a bull market. It does not extend too far beyond that. I'm telling you guys right now, this thing is going to bust. This thing is going to bust. Look, we come all the way back here. When did we bottom out? We bottomed out here inside of December of 2022. And then going into 2023, we were at the complete bottom. And then from 15K Bitcoin, well, 16K at the beginning of 2023, we just started to take off from there. So we've been bullish since then. Yes, we've had sideways moments and downtrends, but we still stayed solid. So that is pretty much what I got for you guys. Do not be discouraged by this. Do not let them shake you guys out. They're trying to shake out the weekends. They do this every single time. Whenever we get pullbacks, they are always 32%. I don't know why it's that way, but for this rally, they have been 32% pullbacks. Guys, I'm not just showing you random things. Look, I didn't even plan this for this video. I didn't even plan this. I looked at this and I'm like, it was probably a 32% pullback, just like the other pullbacks. What was this? It was a 32% pullback. Look, boom, 32% pullback. We come up to the next area inside of this rally. The next area, what happens again? 32% pullback. Now we're inside the next leg up for this rally. What are we doing? Possibly a 32% pullback, possibly. And I'll tell you why. Because if you look at this and we take it from the high of this area here all the way up to the high of this area here, we're then looking at about a 46% gain, right? About 46% gain when we're looking at it from that perspective, okay? So technically speaking, if that was a 45% gain from this low to that high, what was this one? Well, if you look at this one was only 15%. So a 32% pullback would kind of be premature inside of this situation. So that is kind of why I'm looking at this like, maybe we have more room to go up before we have the 32% pullback, or we might just have it now. But either way, things aren't always the same every single time. They're never going to always follow the same predictions and the same paths. But we do know we've had a 32% pullback on the way up here multiple times, right? We had it twice here, and it could be a third time. And we probably had it before, and I'm just not realizing it, right? We probably had something like that before that I'm just not realizing. So also keep that in mind. Like this, I bet this is probably around 32%. All right. Well, this was 20%. So this one wasn't quite 32. This one was 20. So there's a possibility that we might not pull back as hard as these two levels. And if that happens, again, we stop at either 104K or 99K, right? But we're still bullish in the long term, even if we don't pull back. Hopefully we don't pull back hard. Hopefully we just keep running from here and we're all wrong about the bear trap, right? Hopefully things just keep going. But anyways, this is all I got for you all today. Things are looking bullish again here on the 4-hour chart. Looking at the percent arbitrage exhaustion, we should have, or on the daily chart, we should have a nice increase in prices coming pretty soon here inside Bitcoin. So anyways, hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. And as always, I'll be back with another video.